The Redmi Note 5 Pro was and still possibly remains one of the best smartphones in the sub 15K segment. The Note 5 on the other hand wasn't as impressive and was overshadowed by its sibling. The Redmi Y2 however is now here and it seems more like a toned down Redmi Note 5 Pro despite being the successor to the Y1 smartphones. This is Sandeep from RevAtlas and let's compare these two phones. It doesn't take more than a glance to understand that both these smartphones are made by the same manufacturer and belong to the same brand. The design is very much like the Note 5 Pro save for a few bits. The Y2 opts for a metal-like finish and instead of having plastic top and bottom caps, it has quite a trendy looking antenna line. I quite like these antenna lines but I'm guessing many won't share the same opinion. The Note 5 Pro fits well in the palm but the Y2 feels a bit awkward initially since the corners are perhaps a bit too rounded and the glass sticks out a bit from its body. The Y2 is noticeably lighter both due to the materials used as well as the smaller 3080 mAh battery instead of the 4000 mAh unit on the Pro. It doesn't feel cheap but the Note 5 Pro feels better built. Nonetheless, for the asking price, I'm happy with the Y2. You can also notice a slight difference in the camera unit where the Note 5 Pro has a chamfered outer edge while the Y2 has it blacked out. The Y2 features a similar 5.99-inch IPS panel with 450 nits of brightness and 1000:1 contrast ratio. The aspect ratio also remains 18:9, but what's different is the resolution, which is a 720p panel. It doesn't feel like it lacks much in terms of sharpness and you only really notice it when you hold it extremely up close. It's slightly better in terms of brightness compared to a Note 5 Pro and as a result the sunlight legibility is also marginally better. Audio quality is decent on the Y2 and despite good volume output it feels flat compared to a Note 5 Pro, especially when you look at the bass. Both the devices have IR blasters at the top but the audio jack positions are on opposite ends. The Redmi Y2 comes preloaded with Android 8.1 Oreo out of the box and MIUI 9.5. The Note 5 Pro is still on Android Nougat at the time of posting this video. Performance was smooth on the Y2 but you definitely do feel a slight tardiness compared to the Note 5 Pro, which also has a Snapdragon 636 octa-core processor while the Y2 sticks to a 625. The 625 isn't a bad chipset and Xiaomi have optimized it well, but you won't win any benchmark battles and not much to brag about. However, for the end user and target group, I think this does well enough. One thing missing though is support for dual band Wi-Fi in the Y2 as it doesn't support 5 GHz bands while the Note 5 Pro does support it. The Y2 comes with either 3 or 4 gigs of RAM and corresponding 32 or 64 gigs of storage, while Note 5 Pro has 4 or 6 gigs of RAM with the same 64 gigs of storage. One major advantage the Y2 has over the Note 5 Pro is the triple card slot. So even if you're using 2 nano SIMs, you can still use a micro SD card for storage unlike the hybrid dual SIM slot on the Note 5 Pro. There's a fingerprint scanner on the back of both the devices and the Y2 also gets face unlock as a feature right out of the box. In terms of fingerprint and facial scanning speeds, we feel that the Y2 is a tad bit faster, perhaps owing to the newer software, but we'll do a side-by-side comparison soon to be more accurate. Note 5 Pro has a dual camera setup at the back with 12 megapixels and a secondary depth sensor which is of 5 megapixels, and it matches with the Y2 in terms of specifications, at least on paper, due to the f2.2 aperture and 1.25 micron pixel size, but the sensor does seem different. Up front you get a 16 megapixel f2 camera on the Y2 compared to the 20 megapixel f2.2 camera with 1 micron pixel size and 1/2.8 in sensor size on the Note 5 Pro. We're working on a detailed camera comparison, but until then here's what you can expect from both the devices. In terms of battery life, I feel they're quite similar despite the different battery capacities. This is mainly due to a lower resolution screen on the Y2. We got around 8 hours of screen on time on both the devices and they both also support 5V 2A charging over their micro USB ports. To sum it up, I feel that the Y2 is more like the Note 5 Pro than the Note 5 ever was. The Note 5 particularly missed out on the dual camera setup and the good front camera setup that made the Note 5 Pro one of the best. Even if it didn't have something as good, something relatively good would have sufficed, and that's what the Y2 brings to the table. Thanks for watching this video. See you again in the next one.